His Excellency Asif Anwar Ahmad. I really liked your picture earlier, Excellency. You're a man of all ties. Secretary Cesar Purisima, Secretary Babe Singson, Secretary Renel Mendras, Ms. Stella Marquez de Arneta, the Chargé d'Affaires Embassy of Colombia, Chairman Cristino Nagyat, former Secretary and Mrs. Tito Ipardo, Chairman Rolando Goseng Piao, Attorney Arnel Casanova, Director General Lilia de Lima, Chairperson Tess Herbosa, Attorney Miguel Varela, Chair of the PCCI, the 25 visionaries of Megaworld Corporation, fellow workers in government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me begin by congratulating Andrew on your 25th anniversary. Andrew, since you keep inviting me to these events, perhaps you will allow me to return the favor by publicly inviting you to my 25th wedding anniversary. The Speaker, I think, has asked me to note that since the countdown has not started yet, I regret that I cannot give you a date that can be blocked off by your staff. And if we are still around by then, I would be truly happy to celebrate that particular milestone with you and your family. Whenever I see Dr. Andrew Tan, I always compliment him on the efficacy of his marketing staff. They never fail to send me at least 2 text messages inviting me to purchase one of their condominiums on a weekly basis. And this is after I had changed my number. Of course, he always responds to this by reminding me, "Sir, I have never given your number to anybody." And I'm sure that he never has. But truly, having seen the integrity and rigor with which Dr. Tan has managed his companies over the past decades, all these potential investments are certainly appealing. Perhaps after 2016, when I can have a job in the private sector again, which will be about 2017, I will finally be able to reply to your marketing staff. In all seriousness, however, when I think about how much Megaworld has transformed in the past 25 years, I cannot help but be astonished by your performance. Your company was established in 1989, a relatively volatile period in Philippine history. Back then, the coup plots and attempts were driving away potential investors from our country. I actually recall a story recounted to me by one of my cabinet secretaries. In 1987, their family was in talks to export coal to Taiwan. However, 3 days before they were scheduled to sign the contract, there was a coup attempt, and their partners promptly backed out of the deal, even after 6 whole months of negotiations. This was the environment when Megaworld began to do business. In fact, just months after your incorporation, another major coup attempt broke out, with some rebels even laying siege to our central business district in Makati. Naturally, the business sector's confidence was shaken, and no one would have blamed your company for seeking opportunities elsewhere. Nevertheless, Dr. Andrew Tan, together with his supporters and investors, kept his faith in our country, and he put his money where his mouth is. They knew that the talent, the skill, and the loyalty of the Filipino worker would tide them through this period of uncertainty, and they were right. Just look at what Megaworld has grown into. It really brings me great pleasure to see that Dr. Tan's unwavering belief in our country and in our people is being rewarded. Since then, Megaworld has gone on to become one of the premier real estate companies in the country. In 1997, you launched Eastwood City, which went on to become the first information technology park in the Philippines, helping lead to the boom of the IT BPO industry and encouraging even more developments in the area. In recent years, you have undertaken similar township development projects in Taguig, Iloilo, and Cebu, all of which I hope will have the same profound effect on their surrounding areas. Indeed, the regularity with which you are undertaking these large-scale projects is staggering. I am told that in your company's lifetime, you have completed more than 320 residential, office, mall, and hotel buildings, and that you are currently working on 185 more. Of course, Megaworld is just one beneficiary of Dr. Andrew Tan's leadership. For instance, having learned valuable and sometimes difficult lessons from his time managing his Andy Player whiskey brand, Dr. Tan has grown Emperador into a global business. Indeed, Emperador's performance has been impressive. Years ago, who would have thought that we would have a Filipino liquor brand buying established vineyards in Europe? Above that, who could have imagined? Who could have imagined that the Filipino brand would be acquiring other global brands such as White and McKay? On top of this, McDonald's, the local franchise of which is held by one of Dr. Tan's companies, has been expanding and is targeting its 500th branch in the Philippines by 2015. Resorts World, I think this is the point that the Cabinet Secretary and the Senate President have reminded me to make a public pledge that we will help you grow those McDonald's companies by partaking of all of their fare on an, Mrs. Almendez is looking at me kind of strangely, on a once-a-week basis. Okay. Resorts World Manila also seems to be doing quite well, and I'm told that they have kept their occupancy rates at a consistently high level. Clearly, these results are no flukes, and perhaps you will allow me to share what I believe to be Dr. Andrew Tan's secret, what allows him to consistently achieve success. It is none other than his perseverance, his patience, and his compassion. I remember when Dr. Tan told me that his company had lost out on the bid for the FTI property. Instead of barraging me and haranguing me with a litany of complaints, I was surprised when he simply told me, "Sir, the results are in, we lost the bid. The government gets the maximum value for the property, and we will keep our cash for other projects that we are more interested in." This is the complete lack of self-entitlement I have always admired in Dr. Tan. The kind of humility that I have prayed at times for a lot more individuals to acquire from all sectors to replicate. That is a trait that truly should be replicated. You see, there are some very successful people who, once they reach the pinnacle of their chosen profession, begin believing that they deserve to be treated better than others. Andrew, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He is always graceful in his success, never bitter in defeat, and he has never forgotten his beginnings. I am told that he started out as a salesman with a small table of watches, and it seems like despite his success now, he has remained the same person. He is still the same Andrew Tan who sold watches, who chose to walk to school instead of taking public transport to save money, and who imported appliances and sold them to appliance stores. These, I believe, are the attitudes that have allowed him to build his empire. But one also cannot discuss Dr. Tan's triumphs without mentioning his keen awareness that success can only be sustained if one acknowledges the role of the surrounding communities in that success. Perhaps this is the reason why his companies have always looked back to give back to the community. Megaworld Foundation, for instance, has granted more than 3,600 scholarships in just the past 6 years to the tune of 123.5 million pesos. This is on top of donating significant amounts of money to social service programs while at the same time undertaking feeding projects, environmental campaigns, and medical missions. There is just one fundamental idea behind these efforts, and it is the same idea that has led to your continued growth, that your company and this country's success hinges on the Filipino people. It mirrors our administration's belief that as we tread the path to progress, we must leave no one behind. And for always being aware of this, I extend my utmost gratitude to your company and to you, Andrew. Today, on your 25th anniversary, I am certain that all of you will remain hard at work in ensuring that the success of Megaworld continues far into the future, and I encourage you to always keep in mind the foundation of your success. Your unwavering trust in and partnership with our people. You have been blessed with a great mentor in Dr. Andrew Tan, and it is my hope that 10, 20, and even potentially 50 years from now, as you take on even greater roles in your companies, you will continue to embody the principles and values upon which this particular company was built upon. If companies such as you continue walking shoulder to shoulder with us on the straight and righteous path, we will give rise to a better, more prosperous Philippines, one that we will be proud to bequeath to future generations. Thank you. Good evening.